The war came without warning. It started with smoke in the sky and strange lights over the desert planet Elvax 9. For years, the human military had watched the stars, fearing an invasion, but they never expected the enemy to look beautiful. Sergeant. Darren Holt had survived 3 deployments. He thought he'd seen everything until he found her. She was crouched in the corner of a metal cage, deep inside an enemy research outpost the humans had raided. Her skin was glowing emerald green. Her long silver hair tangled, her clothes torn and dusty. Her arms were tied, but her eyes, those strange shining eyes, watched him with a mix of fear and something else. Hope. Darren raised his blade just in case. He didn't trust anything alien, not after what their kind had done to his team 2 days ago. "You're one of them," he said coldly. She looked up. Her voice was soft, shaking. "Not like them." "Then what are you doing in their prison?" he asked. "They locked me away," she whispered. "Because I'm different, because I can create what they fear." He frowned. "What do you mean?" She took a breath. "I was made to breed. My body, my DNA, can make powerful hybrid offspring, stronger than any soldier. That's why they wanted to control me." Darren didn't speak. He wasn't sure if she was lying or manipulating. Then she said the words that froze him. "Please, human, show mercy. Take me with you. Use me if you must. Just don't let them take me again." Darren stepped back, confused, heart pounding. He had orders. Secure the facility, retrieve valuable intel, leave no alien behind alive. But this wasn't a weapon. This was a girl, a prisoner, a creation, one that begged not to die, but to be useful. "Why would I trust you?" he asked. She looked into his eyes. "Because I offered my life to you. I have nothing else." The door behind him creaked. His team was coming. He had seconds to choose. Kill her, leave her, or break the rules and take her with him. He looked at the key hanging on the wall, then at the girl still on her knees, and in that moment, with war raging above them and silence between them, Darren made a choice that would change everything. He grabbed the key. The metal key clicked in the lock. Sergeant Darren Holt glanced over his shoulder. No one had seen him, yet. He turned the handle and slowly opened the cage door. The alien girl stared at him, eyes wide, almost unbelieving. She didn't speak. She didn't move. "Come on," Darren whispered, voice sharp. "We don't have long." She stood slowly, her bare feet silent on the cold floor. Her hands were still tied with rough rope, but she followed him without question. She walked like she had no strength left, but her eyes stayed alert, watching, listening. Darren pulled a spare cloak from his supply pack and tossed it to her. "Put that on. If anyone sees green skin, it's over." She wrapped it around herself quickly. The cloth hid her shape and her glow, but it couldn't hide her scent. Soft, sweet, like wildflowers in summer. Darren ignored it. They moved fast, through the ruined hallways of the outpost. Outside, explosions echoed. The airstrike was coming soon. The place would be ash in minutes. As they neared the extraction zone, a soldier from Darren's squad spotted him. "Sergeant, you're late. What's with the extra?" "She's a prisoner," Darren said quickly. "One they experimented on. Command might want her alive." The soldier raised an eyebrow. "That doesn't look like protocol." Darren stepped close and lowered his voice. "And blowing her up inside a lab isn't good PR either. Just let me handle it." The soldier grunted, then nodded. "Your problem. We're wheels up in 60. Back on the dropship, the girl sat quietly, hidden behind cargo. Darren didn't let anyone near her. He sat across from her, rifle in hand, helmet down. "You're lucky I made this call," he said. She looked at him and whispered, "I don't believe in luck, only purpose." He frowned. "What's your purpose then?" Her voice didn't shake this time. "To survive, and to give you something your kind has never had before." Darren didn't ask what she meant. He didn't need to. But deep inside, Something was changing. He didn't know what she truly was. But he knew one thing for sure. He had just brought a secret onto the ship, one that no one else could ever find out about. The transport ship roared through the upper atmosphere, leaving behind smoke, fire, and ruins. The war on LVAX 9 would continue, but Darren had smuggled something far more dangerous than data or weapons. He had smuggled her. The alien girl sat silently in the shadows near the storage crates, her hood low, hiding her glowing skin. The cloak couldn't fully hide the way her silver hair shimmered when light touched it, or the way her presence made everyone nearby feel. Darren tried not to look at her. He tried not to feel anything, but he couldn't ignore her. Not when she sat so still, not when her eyes were always on him. After touchdown at Base 72, the squad disembarked. Darren waited until most soldiers had cleared the docking bay. Then he stepped back into the hold. "You stay here," he said, keeping his voice firm. "I'll bring food, water, but you don't move, you don't make a sound." She nodded once. "I trust you." Darren stared at her. "Why?" Her reply came soft and fast. "Because you didn't kill me." That answer hit deeper than he expected. Later that night, Darren returned with supplies. She was exactly where he left her. She hadn't touched anything, not even the water. "Why didn't you eat?" he asked. She looked up. "You're the only one who's ever offered me anything. I was waiting to share it." He blinked. "That's not how this works." Her glowing green eyes met his. "Then teach me how it works." "Human." Darren sat beside her, half against his better judgment. He handed her the food. She ate slowly, carefully, like every bite was new. "You still haven't told me your name," he said. She shook her head. "I don't have one anymore. They erased it, but you can give me one." He hesitated, then said, "Lyra." The girl smiled gently. "Lyra," she repeated. "I like that." Suddenly, the warning sirens in the base echoed. A security breach. Someone had scanned the bay. The system had detected an unregistered life form. Darren stood up fast. "They're coming." Lyra didn't flinch. "I told you," she whispered, rising slowly, eyes glowing brighter. "I was built for survival." Darren grabbed his rifle and pulled Lyra into the shadows, just as the metal doors opened. Two security officers stepped in, scanning the cargo bay with handheld devices. Their scanners beeped, blinking red. One of them narrowed his eyes. "Unauthorized life form in this section," he said. "Could be a leftover biotech experiment." The other officer moved closer to Darren. "You were the last one logged here, Sergeant Holt. Anything to report?" Darren kept calm. "Just checking gear inventory, nothing strange." The first guard looked suspicious. "Mind if we take a look around?" Darren stepped slightly in their path. "This section's being decontaminated. Still radio hot from LVAX. Dust. Could trigger your bioscans." Both guards paused. They didn't want to risk infection. "Fine," the lead officer said. "But if anything pings again, it goes straight to command." "Understood," Darren said. The officers turned and left. The door slid shut behind them. Silence returned. Lyra stepped out from behind a crate, her breathing steady but her hands slightly shaking. "They would have killed me." "They still might," Darren muttered. "If they find you here, I'll be court-martialed, and you'll be dissected." Lyra looked up. "Then we keep hiding?" Darren stared at her for a long moment. "No," he finally said. "We stop running, but we do it smart." He took her to a hidden barracks room deep inside the lower hangars. It hadn't been used in years, but it still had power, water, and access to his secure comm system. "This will be your room now," he said. "No one comes here but me." She sat on the edge of the bed, eyes soft. "Why are you doing this?" Darren sat across from her, rubbing his forehead. "I don't know. Maybe because I've done too much killing, maybe because I want to believe there's something left to protect." Lyra tilted her head. "You already are." Just then, his comm tablet buzzed. A message from HQ. Urgent. Enemy biological weapon rumored to be missing from LVAC's facility. All squads. To report unauthorized findings immediately. Darren closed the screen slowly. They were looking for her. He looked at Lyra again. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. They both knew. No one could ever know she was here. Darren sat alone in the dark storage room staring at his datapad. He had copied the last files from the LVAC's outpost before the airstrike. Now finally he was reading them. Classified file Genetic Project Lyra. Purpose. Create hybrid-compatible female capable of bearing enhanced multi-species offspring. Result. Subject successfully formed. Advanced strength, healing, and mental linking. Traits passed to potential children. Status. Too dangerous. Ordered terminated. Subject escape termination order. Last location. Containment cell D6. Darren closed the file slowly. So it was true. Lyra wasn't just an alien girl. She was built, not born. Created to breed stronger beings. Super soldiers. Hybrids that could end wars, or start new ones. He stood, and walked to the old barracks room where she stayed hidden. Lyra sat near the bed, quietly watching the small base light flicker. Her silver hair had been brushed now. She looked cleaner, calmer, but still alert, like a fire that never went out. You read the files, she said, even before he spoke. Darren nodded. You were designed to carry powerful offspring. Weapons, in womb form. I didn't ask for it, Lyra said softly. But yes, my body was engineered. My mind, too. And when I refused to be used, they locked me up. Darren sat down across from her. What happens if Command finds out? They'll either kill me or take me apart slowly. Silence, then she looked at him directly. But you already knew that. So the real question is, what happens next? Darren looked down at his hands. Rough. Dirty. Trained to hold a gun, not a life. I'm a soldier, Lyra, he said. I'm supposed to follow orders. But you didn't, she replied. You followed your heart. He didn't answer. Instead, he handed her a small bracelet. What is it? She asked. A fake ID chip, registered under civilian evacuees. It'll mark you as a non-threat if they scan you. Lyra held the bracelet like it was something sacred. Why are you helping me, Darren? He looked into her glowing eyes. Because maybe you're not the weapon they think you are. Lyra smiled gently, but her voice trembled. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm something more. Outside, alarms rang in the distance. Command had just ordered a full base scan. They were running out of time. The sirens grew louder. A mechanical voice echoed through the base speakers. Attention, biosignature sweep in progress. All unauthorized life forms will be detained. Full lockdown in 30 minutes. Darren moved fast. He opened a supply locker and tossed a military jumpsuit toward Lyra. Put this on. The ID chip won't work unless you look human enough. Lyra slipped on the gray uniform. It covered her glowing skin and she tied her silver hair under a cap. But her eyes, they still glowed faintly, no matter how much she tried to hide them. You'll have to keep your head down, Darren said. She nodded. Where are we going? Sector 9. Power grid maintenance zone. Hardly anyone goes there. They won't scan below that floor. Together they moved through the lower corridors of the base. The halls were full of soldiers, some walking fast, some standing still, scanning others with handheld devices. One wrong beep, and everything would fall apart. As they reached the lift, 2 guards stopped them. ID checks, one barked. Darren handed over his military badge. Sergeant Holt, escorting civilian evac technician to grid inspection. She's under base Civ 5 code. The guard scanned the badge and then looked at Lyra. What's her name? Darren replied without blinking. Rika Vale. Lyra gave a small nod, playing along. The scanner beeped once, then turned green. Move along. They entered the lift. As soon as the doors closed, Lyra exhaled. You lied so easily, she whispered. I've had practice, Darren muttered. Being human isn't about truth, it's about choice. The lift doors opened at the lowest level. The lights flickered, pipes hissed. It smelled of oil and heat. This is where you want to hide me? She asked. For now, he said. Until I figure out what comes next. But even as he spoke, a red alert appeared on his wrist pad. Unregistered heat signature detected in lower deck corridor. Investigation team en route. Darren cursed. They're tracking your body temperature. Your kind runs hotter. Lyra looked at him calmly. Then you know what to do. He hesitated, then walked to her and pulled her close. Skin to skin. Face to face. Hold still, he whispered. The door slammed open. 3 soldiers burst in. Thermal reading said 2 life forms? One asked. Confused. Just me and my tech, Darren said casually. Power system blew. She got too close. I had to stabilize her. The soldiers scanned again. Numbers matched. No alert. They grunted and left. When the door closed, Darren stepped back slowly. Lyra looked at him. Not afraid, not surprised. You risked everything, she said softly. I had to, he replied. Because now, you're mine, to protect. And somewhere deep inside both of them, that bond started to feel very real. The power grid room was warm, silent, and hidden. The pipes hummed. The walls leaked soft heat from the reactor core nearby. Darren sat on a metal crate, arms crossed, mind racing. Lyra sat across from him, watching. Her glowing eyes were half-shadowed under her cap. Sooner or later, he said, they'll scan deeper or someone will question my reports. I can't keep covering this up. Lyra nodded. Then let me go. Darren frowned. What? I can survive outside the base, she said. In the wild zones. You won't be blamed. I'll vanish. You'll be safe. No, Darren said firmly. You won't last 3 days out there. The drones will catch you. The cold will kill you. Lyra looked down. Then what other choice do we have? He was quiet for a long moment. Then he stood and pulled out a secure comm tablet. He opened a private line to an off-world research base, one with a reputation for ignoring military protocols. They run silent labs, he said. Tech havens, no questions asked, but they only take genetically rare beings. Lyra tilted, her head. You're offering to sell me? No, Darren said. I'm offering to register you as a bonded hybrid partner. She blinked. Bonded? In military tradition, that means one human claims a cross-species mate. The program was ended years ago, but the code still works in the system. Lyra's voice was quiet. That means I become yours. In the system's eyes, yes, Darren said. You'll have rights, protection, and I'll be marked responsible for you. Lyra stood slowly. And you'd take that risk? He nodded. If it keeps you alive? Yes. She stepped closer, eyes locked with his. And if the bond is real, not just digital? Darren hesitated. Then we deal with that together, she gave the smallest smile. Then do it. Bond me. He opened the form. Logged in. Bond request. Civilian hybrid registration. Partner, Lyra. Species, unknown class. Purpose, biological alliance. Status, pending confirmation. Status, approved. Soft chime sounded. On paper she now belonged to him, but the way she looked at him, he realized something else. Maybe he was starting to belong to her too. 3 days passed. Lyra remained hidden in the power grid sector, now officially registered as a bonded partner under the old Earth-Valor Treaty clause. It was risky, an outdated legal relic, but it gave her protection for now. Darren visited her every night. He brought food, sat by her side, and shared quiet talks about Earth, war, and what freedom really meant. But above them, others were starting to notice. Base Commander Trent, a sharp-eyed veteran, watched Darren closely. He had seen too many soldiers act strange when secrets were involved. Darren's activity reports were clean, but too clean. Too perfect, Trent called him into his office. You've been taking a lot of solo assignments lately, Sergeant, Trent said, staring across the desk. Unusual. Needed to clear my head, Darren replied calmly. LVACs left scars. Trent leaned forward. We also found tampered logs in the LVACs facility. Someone removed prisoner data before the airstrike. Someone like you. Darren's jaw tightened. What are you saying, sir? I'm saying if someone smuggled out an enemy bioasset, Trent said slowly, they'd better speak now, before someone else finds it first. Darren stood tall. If I see anything unusual, I'll report it immediately. Trent stared at him for a long moment. You'd better. That night, Darren returned to the power grid sector. Lyra waited for him in the corner, her silver hair shining faintly under the light. Something's wrong, she said. He nodded. The commander suspects. We need to prepare. Lyra's voice lowered. If they come for me, will you give me up? He looked into her eyes, deep, bright, and trusting. No, he said. I'd rather burn the whole base down first. She stepped close and placed her palm on his chest. Then we're bonded in truth. And in the shadows, two silent eyes watched from above. Someone had followed Darren. And now, the secret was no longer safe. The next morning, Base 72 changed. Security doubled at the doors. Soldiers walked in pairs. Drone patrols scanned every hallway. Darren sensed it immediately. They knew. In the commander's private chamber, a classified message glowed on the screen. Unauthorized hybrid signature detected. Bonded status invalid. Subject likely altered database. Immediate recovery requested. Use force if necessary. Commander Trent closed the file and stood. He gave the order. Find Sergeant Holt. Bring him in. Alive. The hybrid. Dead or contained. Deep in the power grid level, Lyra stood by the old generator room watching Darren pace. They've found us, haven't they? She asked quietly. He nodded. They're coming. Not a scan this time. An armed squad. Lyra didn't flinch. Then I'll surrender. You can say you were tricked. No, Darren said. We run. You'll lose your rank. Maybe your life. He stepped close. I'm not saving a mission anymore. I'm saving you. Suddenly boots echoed in the hall. Target located. Armed response. Darren pulled Lyra into the back maintenance tunnel. Gunfire erupted behind them. He shot the lights, buying a few seconds. They ran through the dark pipes, footsteps pounding, heart racing. At the outer hatch, he keyed in a backup. Code, one only squad leaders knew. The door opened into the waste vents. Disgusting. Dangerous but untraceable. We go through here? Lyra asked. Darren grinned. Smells worse than war, but it's the only way out. Behind them, alarms blared. Sergeant Darren Holt. Traitor. Armed with experimental hybrid. Kill on sight. Lyra touched his hand. We don't have much time. No, he said, locking eyes with her. But we still have each other. They dove into the darkness together. The waste tunnels beneath Base 72 were dark, wet, and full of steam. Every corner hissed. Every pipe echoed like footsteps. Darren kept his hand tightly around Lyra's as they moved through the maze. He had memorized the old schematics years ago, but now every turn felt like a gamble. We're almost there, he whispered. Just past this valve chamber. Then a tunnel leads outside the base perimeter. Lyra's face was damp with sweat. Her silver hair tied back beneath the cap. Her glowing eyes never left him. I trust you, she said simply. Outside the valve room, a final scanner blocked the way. A guard drone hovered silently in the dark, blinking red. Darren knew it would ping Lyra's heat signature, and then it would kill her. Stay back, he told her. I'll draw its attention. When it charges, run. No, she said quickly. We run together. The drone moved, detecting them. Darren charged, shouting to draw it in. The drone fired, just as Lyra screamed. His name, but the shot didn't hit. It stopped. System error. Her ID chip, the bond status, had confused the program. It registered her not as a threat, but as his. The door opened. They ran through. Outside, dawn was rising over the red hills. They stumbled into the rocky terrain, breathless, cut, burned, but alive. For the first time, Lyra fell to her knees, staring at the sunrise. Is this freedom? Darren knelt beside her. It's not much yet, but it's real. She turned to him. What happens now? He smiled faintly. We disappear. New names. New life. Maybe even a future. She leaned against his shoulder. One day, I'll give you what they feared most. He raised a brow. Powerful offspring? She shook her head gently. No, something more dangerous. What's that? Lyra smiled. Love. And as the sun rose behind them, the soldier and the hybrid walked forward together, into the unknown but not alone.